For Movie Fixers, I'm PT, and I'm going to fix you up with a quick review of A Monster Calls. I really love the synopsis on IMDb for A Monster Calls. It's so clear and concise, and it says, a boy seeks the help of a tree monster to cope with his single mom's terminal illness. And that is accurate. That's basically what this story is about. But to expand on it a little bit, is this boy named Connor whose mother has cancer, and she is not doing well, and he is under a lot of stress from that. Add to that, he's got this grandmother who's very involved in his life, but he doesn't quite connect with her. She's a little bit cold and kind of demanding. Also, he's constantly getting bullied at school. His dad lives in another country, and he doesn't see him very often. His dad's kind of got this new family. So there's just really a lot going on for this 12-year-old kid to deal with. One night, he's visited by this massive tree monster who is voiced by Liam Neeson. And the monster tells him that he's going to visit him on subsequent nights and tell him 3 stories. And then after that, he expects Connor to tell him a 4th story in return. The big question I had going into this movie was, like, who exactly is this for? The marketing campaign, I feel like, didn't do a great job of clarifying exactly who this was for, and after seeing it, I'm still not entirely sure of who it's for. And that's not a criticism. I actually think that's pretty cool in this day and age when most movies are so clearly targeted towards specific demographics and things like that. This is just a great story, but you can see how the marketing team would struggle, because if you look at the commercials, first you've got this kid kind of walking with this big CGI monster kind of thing, so you might think maybe it's a Pete's Dragon kind of thing or a Iron Giant kind of thing, but then you realize it's about this kid's mom having this terrible illness and him trying to deal with that. So it's very much about grief. So you're like, is this movie for kids or adults or what? And then when you actually watch the movie, there's parts of the movie that are animated in this weird but beautiful watercolor style. The stories that the monster tells are animated. So that was something that I actually liked about it. I was like, didn't just fit in a box. It was a great movie that was just a good story that I think just about anyone could enjoy, regardless of age group. I did see a couple younger kids in the movie, and I was wondering, ooh, this might be a little much for them. It is a very dark movie that does not pull any punches when it comes to dealing with grief. So I've kind of heard this movie described as the story of a boy who deals with the grief by exercising his imagination and kind of inventing this imaginary monster for himself, and I guess that is kind of accurate. But I think it goes a lot deeper than that. This movie actually deals with some really deep kind of themes, and one of the themes that it deals with that I thought was really cool is kind of the idea that stories are great and can be helpful to us, but they can also be dangerous, and that no one in real life is as black and white, good or bad, as they are oftentimes in stories. And I think the characters in this movie really reflect that. All the characters, with the exception of Connor's mom, who is painted basically as a complete saint, all the other characters are very morally ambiguous. The characters that at first seem terrible oftentimes get more nuanced as the movie goes on, and vice versa. Even the school bully, although he's not in the movie a lot, turned out to be a pretty interesting little character. Great acting in this movie as well. Sigourney Weaver plays the grandmother. She did a great job. Felicity Jones, hot off Rogue One, plays the mother. And Liam Neeson is the voice of the monster. And then Connor himself, the child actor, did a great job. He was played by Lewis McDougall, and I think he's winning some awards for this performance. So I don't know how this movie's doing in the box office, but I feel like this is one of those that might reach a wider audience once it gets on home video and streaming. I think this is one of those movies that could be very important to people and a memorable movie for them once they see it. I don't see it getting as big as something like Shawshank Redemption or Princess Bride, but I think it might be that style of movie where it's not blowing away the box offices, but it's going to grow more on video. And I think in the years to come, we'll see people listing this amongst their favorite movies and things like that. I've heard lots of good things about the book as well that this is based on by Patrick Ness. The movie's not perfect. There's a couple little things in it that I would tweak. For one thing, it's so dark and heavy. I literally think there was about 2 funny lines in the movie, and I feel like we could have used some more of those funny lines, just a moment of levity here and there to just let the air out of the room a little bit. Also, I feel like the last couple minutes of the movie, uh, in a very minor way, undermine some of the themes in the movie. So I would have like cut those last couple minutes. But other than that, I think this is a great movie that as long as you don't mind being in for a bit of an emotional slog, I highly recommend checking it out. It was one of those movies where when I got up to leave, I saw a lot of people wiping their eyes at the end of this one. And as far as the kids, like I think this could be good for older kids. Not too long ago, I rewatched The Neverending Story, which in my memory was a great kids movie. I remember watching that all the time as a kid. I had it on VHS, and I went back and watched it, and I was like, wow, this is really dark. So I think, darkness can work in kids movies, and I think for your older kids, this might be a good one, but definitely probably not for the younger ones or the ones who are a little more emotionally sensitive, probably. So that's A Monster Call. Definitely recommend checking it out, and I'd love to hear what you think about it as well. Here's another review you might like, and make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can get our videos. They come out every Tuesday. And check out our podcast, Movie Fixers, on iTunes, where we don't just talk about bad movies, but we fix them. Thanks so much for watching.